Coming up next on Channel 6 television, Grassy Roots with Dr. Jim Carey and Beth Overgaauw. A show which will guide you down paths to healthier living by simply adjusting your eating habits. Stay tuned to Channel 6 for Grassy Roots. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Grassy Roots. I'm Beth Overgaauw, here with Dr. Jim Carey. Hello, Dr. Jim.
Hi, Beth.
Hello, how are you doing?
You still got me laughing from the joke before the show.
I've been practicing.
I'm doing great today.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
I'm doing great today.
Well, I've always been excited to have Dr. Jim come and be on this show. Well, we put the show together in a way. More so than in a way. We cooperate on how to get this news out to you, our viewers, because I'm becoming a firm believer that it's important news. You've taught me a lot, and with each episode I learn more and become more convinced there's something to this, you know.
I've seen it in thousands of people. I teach it because I've seen the miracles, Beth. There's a lot to it. It changed my life. I've seen it change. I could talk for the rest of the week on the lives I've seen it change. I teach it because it really works. And I'm an internet researcher, and this works.
And that's something this show has spurred me to do, is more research on my own. I'm not going to just blindly jump into new things. You know, I do have to do some background research. And the more I do, the more I believe that the more raw vegetables we eat, the healthier we will be.
Beth, actually we're talking about research and learning. We're getting to that point. This is the last show of the first season, and next season we're going to get into a lot more of the knowledge part. There is a big difference between being a raw fooder and Dr. Ann Wigmore's Raw Living Foods lifestyle.
Oh.
Okay, up till now we've been saying eat more raw fruits and veggies, and that's all good. That's been a great start. But I've seen people get into what they thought was a raw lifestyle and ended up a diabetic because they were eating all fruits.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, and that's the extreme example. I've heard of that once, but that's, you know, she was eating all fruits. She was technically what we call a fruitarian. It has nothing to do with a raw fooder. So we've been emphasizing grains and sprouts and leafy greens, okay? And it's funny to say, but all you have to do is look at what the monkey eats, and because they're 99% genetically the same as man, and look what they eat, okay? Lots of leafy greens, some fruits, grains, okay, and they follow their intuition. We've got our intellect in the way of our intuition, so we have to relearn what our body basically knows, and this is why suddenly we start doing this. Our taste buds change so quickly, our body accepts it and changes so quickly. It just flat out works. But today, the additional knowledge. We've just been throwing foods together willy-nilly. And last week I talked about toning down the fruit, especially if you're diabetic, to leave the fruit out of a green smoothie. Okay? It really comes into what we put into a green smoothie and how we combine it is important. Now, I'm going to put a bunch of this on the website, but out of the middle of the book here is basic rules for food combining. I've got 4 different charts.
Oh.
And I mean, there's a couple guideline tables. I've got all these on my refrigerator. I don't pretend to remember them.
No.
Okay. You know, the recipe books are fine, but when I start with that's not what I have in the fridge recipe, because most of my recipes are what I've got left today. Like I said, I don't waste food because I eat until the fridge is empty. And that's why I came to the studio and we threw broccoli away the other day.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. And
now, when you refer to food combining, you're not talking about foods you would combine so that when they are heated, they create a new creation like a cake.
Right.
That's food combining too.
That's science project.
Yeah.
That's science project food.
We're talking about food that when combined and then eaten causes a reaction internally.
Right, we see these things
once you
when we
eat it.
eat certain things together, we get gas, for example. Well, there's a lot of things that if we eat them together, they interfere with the
Each other's
digestion.
digestion,
Right.
the digestion of each
Yeah.
one.
And one right off the bat, and I have to look at my notes on all this. Right off the bat, you eat melons alone.
Yeah.
Watermelon, muskmelon, cantaloupe, you eat that alone, and then don't eat anything else for at least an hour.
Can you eat watermelon, muskmelon, cantaloupe in a group together, the three of them?
That gets on that, let me put it this
Because
way.
they serve it that way a lot of places.
Well, I buy the fruit baskets like that, all cut up at the store. I feel that because I eat that whole plastic thing, I know I'm paying a lot more for it, but I don't throw away half the watermelon. I don't throw away half the grapes. Okay, I will eat that whole thing. So since I have no waste, it's not cost me anything more.
Right.
And that's my version of fast food. Fast food.
Fast food, yeah, sure. Not a fat food.
So I go through, and I'm not, that's a cusp thing about watermelon, muskmelon. I will go through and eat all the muskmelon.
But this is you only pick out this one kind each time you eat it.
Yeah.
This is something Dr. Wigmore came up with, though.
Oh, and
This is one of her.
But she had a PhD in naturopathic medicine, and she was working on her PhD in nutrition. It has a scientific basis, but this was all what Dr. Ann came up with, and everything I've been teaching in the book here, other than transitional recipes, which we say this is transitional. We're teaching the pure Dr. Ann Wigmore lifestyle that's worked for 50 years with people with every health challenge you can imagine. I mean, I have seen tumors disappear in weeks, huge tumors people had for 7 years and the doctors wanted to amputate the foot. I've seen arthritis disappear, even rheumatoid arthritis. Asthma is typically gone in 24 hours when you're eating living foods, time and again.
Yeah.
24 hours? Wait a minute, no inhaler? Yeah, it's changed the diet. So, but as we go down this path, knowledge is power, okay? And there's certain things that help. I said melons alone. Number 2, liquids. If we drink a liquid with our meal, we're just diluting our digestive juices. So drink at least 30 minutes before a meal and wait 2 hours after. Okay, in these months that we've been working together, you've noticed that when we have a meal here at the studio, everybody says, what do you want, Jim? Fruit juice, water? You've been great about having the alternatives. I don't need anything. And I don't. And
the bad thing about when you go out to any restaurant, they want you to kill time with a drink. That's the first thing they ask, and they bring you, and you sip on a Coke, or tea, or coffee, or water, and there's no 30 minutes before.
So what do I want for a drink? I'll have water, please.
Water's if you're going to have a drink.
And it's still sitting there when I leave the restaurant. They expect it. So you just order water and you don't touch it.
And I know when my children were small and I didn't know all this good stuff I know now, that, we were going to a restaurant was exciting and new and special anyway. So you weren't going to deny them having a drink before the meal came. Plus you knew to keep them from
special
fussing.
Times. Yeah.
So they're working on this huge orange soda or Coke or 7-Up or whatever it was they ordered. And by the time the food gets there, they're full.
Yeah.
They don't want to eat.
Yeah, well, they're full of sugar and caffeine. Yeah. And now they won't sit still because they went through that whole sugary caffeinated drink and they're full.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the answer is you don't go to that kind of restaurant. You go to a salad bar buffet and you say, and you walk in and you get your plates and you go.
You eat immediately.
Now here's where we get into the refrigerator door stuff.
Okay.
Dense carbohydrates, that would be starchy or sugary foods and some of the legumes, or dense proteins, that is, nuts. Don't eat them with leafy greens and vegetables.
Okay, now I'm trying to think.
In other words,
don't put walnuts in your salad.
Don't put walnuts in your salad. Don't put walnuts in your smoothie.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that I don't throw cashews in with my celery and coconut for my special sauce, but that's a special food. That's a comfort food. It's a treat food. Okay, but no nuts in your smoothie would be the basics there.
Now, do you know the rationale behind that?
Dense carbohydrates are mainly for energy. They're ideal for lunch. Dense proteins are mainly for building and repairing. They're ideal for supper.
Oh.
And they interfere with each other's digestion. Should never eat more than 7 foods at any one meal. Because while the enzymes are tagged, the tagged enzymes...
7 sounds like a lot even right there.
It is, but 7 foods. remember my assorted leafy vegetable greens? There's 7 different greens in there, and I throw it in with my romaine lettuce, my pumpkin seeds, and my flax. I'm at 10.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more Grassy Roots after these words from our sponsors.
One of the best things terrorists could do is just build more fast food restaurants, maybe add another pharmaceutical company, have a couple more infomercials, and encourage people to eat the way they eat now. And everybody's going to be dead in 100 years. They can just walk right in, don't have to do a thing.
Superstars, large fry, Big Mac, Coca-Cola, go on, man. Pick your poison. 1/4 of what you eat keeps you alive, and 3/4 of what you eat keeps your doctor alive. I used to get high for a living, eating all the bullshit food they sold me.
Cancer rates going up, heart disease going up, stroke going up.
We're poisoning ourselves with highly processed, nutrient-depleted foods.
One of the major problems is what we do to the soil and the air and the water and everything we take in our food.
We, for whatever reason, decided we're going to spray everything with every kind of pesticide, herbicide, larvicide, fungicide. We decided we're going to genetically modify things we don't know anything about. Can we actually improve what has already been created? And the answer is maybe, but not the way we've been doing it.
If you want to know what's wrong, look down at the table. It's staring back at you.
Think of it as chronic malnutrition, because that's what's going on.
But if we think we're going to go to the doctor and get a pill for everything, we've missed the whole point. We have been taught our whole lives to be consumers of modern medicine, which is pharmaceutical medicine. Good health makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't make a lot of dollars.
No, the drug industry has every right to make money, no question about that at all. The ethics, I think, need to be very closely watched.
What the pharmaceutical companies are doing may not necessarily be in the interest of our population.
You can be as sincere, and you can be sincerely wrong.
Approximately 106,000 Americans die from pharmaceutical drugs each year. And these are people who took the medication as directed.
There's a lot more turning to alternatives because what's being done beforehand doesn't work.
There is no magic bullet, but there is a lifestyle change that reverses serious chronic disease. It's cheap, it's simple, it's safe, it's effective.
The solutions are here. They've always been here. Every single person in the world, every culture, every language, every person in the world knows it. You are what you eat. Food does matter.
It's a choice. You don't have to be sick.
For a full-length DVD copy of Food Matters, go to grassyroots.com/food. And now, back to Grassy Roots on Channel 6 TV.
Mono diets are really good for digestion. I've done really well when I was up at Creative Health in Michigan, and sweet corn came in. And that's all I ate for 3 days. Breakfast,
Every
lunch,
meal?
and supper. Yeah. And it was great. And yeah, no diarrhea or anything like that. The body digests raw corn. It won't digest cooked corn. And I felt great. Okay. If you think about it, we've been raised to have these balanced meals with all these different foods. But up until 100 years ago, what did you have in the springtime? Lots of leafy greens, the first things to sprout. Okay, as summer came in, you got into your wheats. As fall came in, you got into your fruits and veggies. And you made it through the winter with watermelons that you kept in the creek and potatoes and cabbages that you had in the cellar. Okay, the body, now over the course of a year, you got that dietary variety for well-rounded nutrition, but you got it as in season.
Right.
And if man survived that way since the dawn of time up until 1900, it's only the advent of Henry Ford tractor and the Industrial Revolution and people moving to cities that we started eating differently. If the body survived that way for all that time, and then we got into all these imbalances, especially in the last 50 years, because now we all live in cities and eat out of cans and TV dinners, then that's the way the body was designed to eat. Again, how does a monkey eat?
All right, and they probably pig out on one thing at a time. And I was thinking, you know, the age-old debate, at least it was in my little peer group of middle school friends, whether you would eat one bite of each of the 6 items on your plate in a circular fashion, or if you'd finish one whole item before you moved to the next. Was that a childhood experience?
We were not obsessive compulsive where I went to school, so I don't know.
I know, we just debated it, you know, which was better. And even if I think of my eating pattern, I've always liked to have a bite of each and always have my favorite thing on the plate the last bite I take.
I would take the stuff I didn't like broccoli or peas or something, mix it in with the mashed potatoes and gravy, and my mother would say, "Oh, that's gross."
Oh no, I don't like that.
Well, it was the only way I got it down. And like I said, it's all going the same place anyway. That is the opposite way.
But you've heard other people say eat more smaller meals every day, and that would...
Well, this segues a bit from food combining, but it's very important for Dr. Ann's program. 3 meals a day, largest meal at lunchtime, on a schedule.
Okay.
Because when you do that, the body will get used to, it increases hydrochloric acid
for that time
production
of day.
About 30 minutes before the meal. So at Creative Health, we eat at 7:30 a.m., 12:30 for midday meal, and 5:30 in the evening for supper.
That's tough to be on a routine.
But what happens before you know it? I can be out there running the lawnmower, and about 12 o'clock, I'll go in, turn the lawnmower off, and take a quick shower because my stomach says it's time for lunch, and I'll be walking in the front door at 12:30.
You just got to learn to mind your body.
Mind your body, but the body has to learn how to do that schedule, and that's where doing it by the clock comes in. Eat when you're hungry, and the main thing about that is the hydrochloric acid production will be at its height then, and you'll digest that meal better. When you eat those multiple meals, you're hard on your body because the hydrochloric acid level is lower, thus you don't digest the food as well. 3 meals a day. Every day you should have a balance, but of what's locally grown, ripe, and in season. Fruits, food combining, again, fruits alone, you eat fruits in the morning for cleansing, and they give you that burst of energy and sugar, okay? So it cleanses the system, gives you energy, and you eat the fruits alone, okay? Lunchtime is your large meal, okay? And with that would be your big salad, or in particular, like we said, dense carbohydrates are mainly for energy, starchy, sugary foods, legumes, okay, beans. Potatoes aren't really part of Dr. Ann's program, but for me, they give me the energy and the stayingness that I can spend the rest of the afternoon working outside on the farm. So when I come in, and my schedule is 6:30 p.m. for supper, but when I come in at 6:30, I'm hungry by then. But if I don't do something heavy, really big and heavy at midday meal, I'm in snacking at 3:30 or 4. And that's not a good thing, as we just discussed. Next part about it, acid fruits like citrus, berries, and pineapple, or sweet fruits, obviously bananas, persimmons, dehydrated fruits of any form are sweet because it concentrates. They're no more sugary than they were before you dehydrated them,
right.
But there's more sugar per cubic inch, so to speak, because you've dehydrated it. That question comes up a lot. Figs, dates, they should only be combined with subacid fruits, such as apples, pears, cherries, and grapes. So when you're making a fruit salad, apples, pears, cherries, and grapes, with bananas, etc. Okay, there's charts in here.
Oh yeah, because I need to refer to that.
Yeah, and like I say, there's 4 different charts. There's pages full of them. That's the 5 basic rules of food combining, and after that we get into details like avoid eating concentrated proteins with concentrated carbohydrates. They interfere with each other in digestion. You know that concentrated.
Oh gosh,
you know
think about
that
how
is?
many people do that every day.
Yeah, it's called meat and potatoes.
Yeah, it is.
Concentrated protein with concentrated carbohydrates. If you're going to eat meat, okay?
But don't eat it with concentrated carbohydrates too.
Right, they interfere with each other.
And then you go home, oh, I ate too much. And that may not be the problem so much as that you ate the wrong things.
Yeah, it's what you ate together combined with the fact that it was enzymeless dead food. The reason you're tired after a meal is that the pancreas has to go to work to try to tag an enzyme to try to digest that food. And all the blood rushes to the pancreas. That's why the worst thing in the world in college was to take calculus right after lunch. What do you mean that's the only time I can get it? Okay, well, we're just going to sleep through that one and self-study it at night. So it's a combination of things there. But Dr. Ann's guidelines, they do work. We've been teaching this for 50 years, and people turn around like that in weeks. Avoiding carbohydrates, starches, sugar, or sweet fruits with acid fruits. Too many times we mix like strawberries and bananas with, well, a good example is you don't eat strawberries on your cereal. That's a grain and a sweet fruit. Pineapple upside down cake.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to eat upside down cake, fine, but not with the sweet fruits. I know how much you love pineapple, but usually you're eating your pineapple alone, and that's fine. It's when we combine these things that we start undoing. I shouldn't say we're undoing.
We're lessening.
We're not maximizing the good it can do.
Right.
Okay. For everything we said today here, if I say do that instead of meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to take it to the next level, there's a transitional ladder. If you do Dr. Ann's program with locally grown, organic produce, grown with love, harvested when ripe and in season, you're eating at the top rung, and combine it this way, you're at the top rung of the ladder. Virtually impossible, okay? Down here somewhere is eating out of a dumpster.
Yeah.
Everything else is in the middle, okay? But as we get into this raw food thing, we start finding we can come 2 and 3 rungs up the ladder, become healthier. People reach plateaus a lot in living foods. It's because they don't know these Dr. Wigmore things. They get so far in living foods and they go, yeah, but I couldn't get below 220 pounds because it was what they were combining. And actually, number one, I just sort of skipped that off of the list of food combining, is don't overeat. Overeating, especially fats like avocados, you're still going to be unbalanced. You're still going to be overweight. Avocados are full of fat. Half an avocado a day was Dr. Ann's recommendation. I used to say, she's right. Now that I'm down to half an avocado a day, yeah, I feel better.
Yeah.
You do need some fat for your joints. Fat-free is not good either. Your joints need lubrication. That comes from plant, but you want it from plant fats like avocado. Don't consume too concentrated proteins at the same meal, like meat and cheese, shrimp and steak, avocado and nuts.
I don't think I've done any of those in a long time.
Avocado and nuts were one that I did for a while, and that's why I have to remind myself, these books are as helpful to me as anybody else.
Just to keep looking back through it.
Because avocado and nuts, it's like 2 comfort foods.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a guacamole here with some walnuts in it, or pecans in Georgia, especially in the fall. Pecans come in, and I can go over the neighbor's field. You get these little roller things, and all the pecans I can haul away, and then you sit there shelling pecans at night when you're watching Ann Wigmore movies on TV.
Well, one thing I have learned, just in my experimentations, that nuts are a little expensive, just a bit on the expensive side compared to all the other vegetarian type foods. But you don't, and if you sit and eat them like they're your snack, you'll eat a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to stop.
Right.
It's one of those, and so you probably overeat them.
Most raw vegans overeat nuts.
And so that costs too much, number one, and you're eating more than you should.
Right.
So, but now that I'm looking at these recipes, and it talks about grinding these nuts, mixing it with some flaxseed, or you make your own cereal, make your own crackers, make your own crunchies.
Yeah.
That's a different story then.
Because you get the flavor.
And you get the flavor, and pie crust. I found a recipe.
And how much nuts were in there?
Not
a quarter of a
nearly as
cup?
many as if I would have sat there and eaten them.
Right.
And I'm getting protein.
Nuts are a good part of the diet. We should have a certain amount of nuts because there's protein, and certain nuts there's fats also.
Stay tuned for more Grassy Roots after these words from our sponsors. Looking for a comprehensive guide on the subject of the raw foods lifestyle? Susan Shank has written an encyclopedia on the subject, The Live Food Factor. This comprehensive guide to the ultimate diet for body, mind, spirit, and planet covers every possible factor related to the subject. This compilation has received rave reviews by those in the raw foods movement. Visit www.livefoodfactor.com for your copy. The Live Food Factor by Susan Shank.
You're not going to cook anymore? How will I live? I didn't say that I wasn't going to cook for you anymore. I said that I wasn't going to cook the vegetables anymore. And I said we're going to cut back on the red meat for a while.
Where in the world did you get this idea?
I've been reading some of the articles that are posted on rawdoctors.com, and they make a lot of sense. You've got aches and pains, I got high blood pressure, and it's time that we did something about our health. So this is what I'm going to do. Come on, do it just for a little while, sweetie.
To learn what Susan has learned and more, visit rawdoctors.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Carey, and sitting in front of me is Dr. Ann Wigmore's Raw Living Foods Lifestyle Home Study Program. Dr. Ann's program has been taught for over 50 years around the world at a half a dozen institutes. Normally you go, you spend 2 weeks, and you learn to do the program. However, when I was director of Creative Health Institute, I found that after you go home, you've been home for 6 months, a year, all that knowledge starts to fade. There's a need for being able to refresh your memory and a need for keeping inspired. So, over the course of the last 6 years, I put together a home study version of Dr. Ann's program, and this is it in front of you. I know, it's a lot. It's a 304-page handbook. It covers everything from the kind of water to drink, through energy soup, to how you combine your foods. There's a 180-page recipe book that covers everything from a raw breakfast through a raw dessert after supper and everything in the middle. Even has Thanksgiving dinner, an all-raw Thanksgiving dinner with mock turkey. Her basic program is in this 10 DVD set right here. But as you get into it, you get into questions, and you know, it's always like about having a second opinion, about having more details, and that's what the rest of this program is. Over here we have the advantages of eating raw, a video I did, one by Paul Nissan, a couple by Victoria Butenko, including her famous one, Greens Can Save Your Life. That's a 3-hour video. I know it's Victoria's #1 seller. This is all part of the home study program. A couple videos on wheatgrass, a couple videos on sprouting and gardening, a number of videos about Rejuvelac, lightly fermented foods, and energy soup. A couple more Dr. Ann videos, her TV interview. These 4 here are all about the benefits of the lifestyle. This one called Program Review, for example, is an overview of the program at Creative Health Institute. Enzymes in food, living foods preparation, raw parenting, which is important to many people. Student testimonials, colon health, transitioning to raw foods, food combining with Dr. Pfeiffer. It's as thorough as I've been able to make it in the last 6 years. Oh, and I almost forgot, 2 of Dr. Ann's books on tape, read by a professional radio announcer, Steve Monkevitz, a naturopathic doctor that happens to believe in Dr. Ann, so that shows in his voice. I mean, that's a 5 CD set, the other's a 3 CD set. This is the most thorough thing you will ever see to learn about Dr. Ann's Raw Living Foods lifestyle. It's available at shediet.com, and actually, when you go to the website, you'll find there's even more bonuses over and above this. Thank you.
And now, back to Grassy Roots on Channel 6 TV with...
Raw vegans tend to overeat nuts. They tend to overeat fruits. I mean, you need fruits as part of this lifestyle. I see so many variations, you know. I'll segue a bit, but I get a lot of emails about, you hear this from one raw vegan, you hear this from another one, you hear a third one from another one. Who's right? Well, first off, you know, I wrote an essay called Who's Your Guru?
Yeah.
You didn't hear them a year ago, and now they're an expert.
Yeah.
Some of them, like, they come from nowhere and they've been a raw vegan for a year.
Right. Next
year they've been a raw vegan for 3 years. Next year they've been a raw vegan for 6 years.
In 3 years?
Yeah, I've seen that. I look at 2 things. What does the founder look like? Dr. Ann was hale and hearty at 84 when she died fighting a fire on the 5th floor and with no elevator. You look around these raw vegans that are in their 90s and 100s. I listen to them. Okay, that's the voice of experience. Dr. Ann's program's been taught successfully for 50 years. I listen to that. But in the end, it amounts to this. Number 1, I educate myself. Number 2, I listen to my intuition, I listen to my body, is what the doctor ends say, be your own doctor.
Right.
And that book is really all about how to listen to your body. Because what's right for you is right for you. And if you're doing well, if you're doing better than you were, don't listen to anybody's advice, mine or anybody else's. If it's working for you, it's working. Yeah. So another good one is don't eat acid fruits with proteins. Okay, like a little bit of lemon juice is fine on proteins, but avocados, they combine well with acid fruit, subfruit, and greens. But what did we just say? No avocado with nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't combine sweet fruits with proteins, starches, or acid fruit. These get complicated. You
It
need
does.
the chart.
I'm trying to think
But
as you do this, picture the foods that it would be.
Bananas on cereal.
Oh, I love bananas on cereal.
Yeah. I did too. Strawberries and bananas are not a good one to eat together.
Ah.
Dried fruits dehydrate the stomach. Now, that's not to say we don't have them for snacks. Okay, we need snack foods, we need comfort foods. But just be aware that when I'm eating dehydrated fruits, they will dehydrate the stomach, so sparingly. Oh, right, what was this? What did we say in the first episode? Everything in moderation. Important one, eat only one concentrated starch at a meal. Potatoes, corn, pumpkin, etc. Okay, just one at a meal. We get into subacid fruits, maybe use with sweet fruits. That's again where these charts come in like this.
Yeah. It's a little
I'll
more
put these charts on the
complicated
website.
than you think.
Okay, we'll make up a name. It's on the bottom of the screen right now.
Okay.
I don't know how we do that, but it's magic. I'll put these charts on. That helps a lot, and you can print out your own. If you're going to combine, we said eat fruit alone. If you're going to combine fruit, combine it only with lettuce or celery.
Okay.
So if I'm throwing strawberries in with my green smoothie, which is only lettuce and celery, that's still good food combining if I need to sweeten it up. Like we said before, though, better leave the fruit out completely. Yeah. But if I can't stomach it, and I'm great at this, I make a smoothie, and then I say, oh well, my son and his wife are here. I'll sweeten it up, and I throw in half a thing of strawberries, and it's so sweet I can hardly eat it. And they go, oh, it's too bitter. Sweeten it up. And 4 bananas later, they think it's palatable. So it's hard for me to say do what I do because my taste buds have changed a lot.
Yeah.
People have to find what works for you. Yeah.
I'm thinking of salads my mom's been notorious for making with the mandarin orange slices in it and the green leafy vegetables. Of course, that part's fine. And then walnuts. Does that work? Or the apple that cut up apples and walnut and greens,
We have to go back and look at the chart to be sure. But what I'm hearing is fruits with nuts. Okay. Again, but what we're doing here is saying to the next level. That's a wonderful transitional salad you just laid out. Okay. Is it truly pure good food combining? Probably not. But transitional ladder. This rung is not any better or worse than this rung. It's just health-wise, this rung is superior. But this rung is not bad, and it's like this one's bad and this one's good. No, it's just this one is healthier than that one. But as long as you're not eating out of that dumpster, you're already eating better. Okay. We mentioned melons with any other food. A great role here. Sprouts are great. It's the best way to get your grain. And that's why we're eating sprouts. I say it's a high grain diet. And they go, well, other than the wheatgrass, and we haven't got the wheatgrass juice, that's next season, but other than the Rejubilac that we made from wheat, where's the grains? The grains are all these sprouts we're eating. The sunflower grains, the sunflower sprouts, the alfalfa sprouts, the buckwheat sprouts, all these things we've been growing out in the kitchen, even here at the studio, these are all grains.
I like that phototonic energy you get from them too. I like visualizing that. I like the idea that this energy is alive. It sort of goes with all those Star Trek movies I used to watch.
Well, we call this biophotonic energy because it's photonic.
Oh, okay.
But it comes from biology.
Okay.
So, but no, you're right. It's photonic energy, but it's biophotonic energy, and what it is that's the technical term for the life force energy of the plant. Up until 1998, we all knew that plants were alive, and we know that if we cut them off, they withered up and died. So
Right.
there's something there, but science couldn't find a way to measure it until the late 90s. And of course, the moment science measured it, they gave it a name. And that name was biophotonic energy. But for you and I, it's the life force energy of the plant. And there's one philosophy that says that when we kill our food, we destroy the biophotonic energy.
Well,
Okay, everything's got biophotonic energy.
Yeah.
That's life force. We kill the biophotonic energy, thus we're eating dead food.
Right.
But when we eat our sprouts fresh, then the biophotonic energy enters our body and becomes part of our body.
Now we actually get that energy.
We get that energy, and that's that's what I say. One philosophy
There's something
says
spiritual about that.
there's something spiritual about it. Some people say that's where the healing value of these foods come from, is the fact that that energy combines with us and becomes part of us. Luckily, all I have to do is teach the science book here. But no, I totally agree. There's a spiritual thing, and it's like Da Vinci said. Leonardo da Vinci, he says, my body will not be a tomb for dead animals. And if you think about it, my phrase for a long time was, oh, this is a great meal. Nothing had to give its life that I might eat. No animal had to give its life that I might eat. And you think about that and you say, well, you know, chickens and cows, you've probably never been to a slaughterhouse. We're not personally involved with doing that, but if you've ever had a dog or a cat die, it's really no different when a pig or a cow dies.
Well, I haven't been to a slaughterhouse before. At least, well, I have
I
seen
show
a
you some
chicken. I've
videos.
seen a chicken in the
I've done
backyard.
that.
Yeah,
I've done
seen
that,
that.
yeah.
But
When I was a kid.
even at the stockyards, I don't think they treat the animals all that well. They kind of beat
Oh,
on
these
them and hit
feedlots
them.
out in Texas, when I was out the Raw Spirit Fest last spring, I wouldn't treat my dog that way.
And
much
if you
less want to
picture
eat
the
something
perfect
that
world,
grew
you
up
know,
that way.
we'd be living in harmony with every animal there is, and no animal would want to live with us if they know we're going to get a big stick and hit them. Or slit their throat and drain their blood and eat them.
Not many people would be meat eaters if they had to beat the cow to death themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's another consideration too, is just back to scientific fact. We talk about greenhouse gases in America.
Yes.
Okay. If Americans stopped eating meat today,
Right.
we would reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by more than if we all stopped driving cars.
How's that?
The methane put out by the cows themselves, by their fertilizer, plus the fuel we consume to raise the grain that they eat, plus the fuel we consume to process that meat and deliver that meat to the store, etc. If we eliminated meat consumption in America, we would cut more greenhouse gases out of America. It's something like 40% of all greenhouse gas in America comes from cattle, like 35% come from automobiles.
Now, what would we do with all those cows, though? I mean, we still have the cows. They'd be still running around, you know, excremating.
Well, you know,
would we just let like nature take over?
Well, if everybody stopped eating meat at once, the cows are going to live what, 8-10 years, and nature takes over. But realistically, people raise cows because they're going to harvest them for milk or slaughter them. So once you sell off that crop of cows, you know, if you saw meat production drop off dramatically, you stop buying cows. So let's say America stopped eating meat within 3 years.
Okay.
Okay, they eat up all the cows that are out there. You turn that farmland that's making grain over to people. And suddenly, we have a food abundance.
Well, yeah.
It takes 10 pounds of grain to make a pound of cow. It takes 10 pounds of cow to make a pound of person.
Oh.
Therefore, 100 pounds of grain has the same, that means that 10 pounds of grain, it's 100 pounds of grain to make a pound of person. Okay? If you take the cow out of the middle, you have a 10-fold food surplus. If we just took meat out of our diet, we'd be 10 times more efficient in our eating.
In our food production and everything.
Yeah. And actually, if you want to be 10 times more productive than that, we take the grain out and we go to eating plankton, but man doesn't survive on that.
Now, I know some of you listening to this are probably going, oh, come on, and stuff like that. So, as I've said time and again, go look it up online, even if you want to send us an email finding somebody that disputes this. We love to hear that too, because then it makes us go back and do some more research and find something else.
We answer all our email.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it takes a week or so, but as time permits, we answer all our email.
Yeah. So be sure and use anything you hear on Grassy Roots as a reason to go do some more of your own research.
Yeah, in the end, all I'm saying is question everything, come to your own answers. Liquids at any meal, melons we've talked about. That's the basics, really. This chart's nice because it shows carbohydrates and vegetables. They're good to combine.
Right.
Okay. And vegetables and proteins, they're good to combine. And then it lists proteins like almonds, sesame, pecans, pine nuts. But proteins and carbohydrates, they're poor.
Not good.
So I've got these other there's these other
there's
complicated
different
charts.
kind of combinations
But
you got in
this
here.
is a simple one here. Carbohydrates and veggies with proteins, but no proteins with carbs. Okay, and basically this is the same thing, but this is for sprouts, and this lists types of sprouts. Like radish is okay with sesame, but chickpeas is not okay with radish. Okay, we haven't even gotten into some of these. Lentils, yellow peas. Well, we tried to get into lentils, but my lentils wouldn't sprout, would they?
Oh.
Oh well. About where the source of your seeds.
And that's a question for another episode. I still want to learn what to do with all the dried beans I've got in my drawer in there. I've got all kinds of dried beans, and I really don't know how to fix them, other than try to sprout them and eat them. You know, there's got to be other ways.
Well, what I've been doing with
I'm not
beans,
gonna cook 'em.
you get into a technicality. Remember how we wanted to soak everything to get that growth inhibitor enzyme off?
Right.
So we soak the beans because those are hard beans. Soak them overnight. That takes care of the growth inhibitor. And if you soak them for a couple days, they're technically sprouting. Okay. And I did that to use up the beans because I had soup beans in the in the kitchen.
What I've got.
Yeah, and that's how I used mine up in the wintertime is I wanted some good heavy food. And beans would really stick with me, and being out there my dog had issues with my gas, but she'd go.
You mean you still get gas problems when you eat raw beans?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe it was just a byproduct of cooked beans.
No, I still had gas issues, and some nights the dog she sleeps inside in the wintertime. She would get out of bed and you'll sleep in the living room. And I said, that's quite a statement that your dog thinks you stink. But it was nutritious, filling, and
I guess, you know what, you mentioned that, once you get it to that soft phase, you could do the same thing with it that you do with the soaked almonds. Let it harden up again, grind it, and make a base for crackers.
Oh, I didn't think of that. What I started doing with them was making bean smoothies.
Well,
that
got Vitamix. I'm not sure about that.
Well, the Vitamix chopped it up for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how was it tasty? Just like the bean?
Yeah, it's because some of them I didn't let them get that soft. I was really hungry. I wanted the beans, and boy, you can do amazing things with Vitamix. I think you could chop up rocks in that thing.
Well, we won't try that. Particularly since the Vitamix in this kitchen is yours.
Actually, that was a gift from a viewer. I mentioned that I had given my Vitamix away when I left Hawaii. Good cause. And I was using a $5, $3 yard sale blender. And that came in the mail from, I'll just say, from a dear friend in California.
Excellent.
Or a new friend from California. So, yeah, that was just a gift of the Lord.
Well, speaking of food preparation, maybe it's time we head into the kitchen and come up with this week's finale. Actually, it's this season's finale of a food prep idea for you to use at home, to try out. I hope you've been trying out along the way some of our recipes, and we love hearing your comments and suggestions. Be sure and check out GrassyRoots.com, and from there you can find all the other websites that Dr. Jim contributes to, rawdoctors.com, ChiDiet.com, ChiDiet blog. I mean, there's
ChiDiet.net, ChiDietVideos.com, ChiDiet.com/blog. By the way, I had some plans for today's food prep section, but maybe we'd like to make bean smoothie.
You know, that'd be a great idea.
I was pulling your leg.
I'm game.
I would never do that again. I would never do that again. No, my dog didn't speak to me for days.
Okay, so
She never
see,
spoke
I'm
to me
game
again.
to try anything once.
She never spoke to me ever, but anyway. Miss Beth, mahalo.
Thank you too. And be sure and rewatch episodes of Grassy Roots. There are ways to do that. Check out GrassyRoots.com and you will find those ways, because we'll be taking a season break to prepare next season's episodes of Grassy Roots. So you can re-air these in your mind, check out the websites, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. It's been fun. Thank you, Beth. When truth rings, curiosity sings. Finding yourself raw curious? Dr. Ann Wigmore's Raw Living Foods Lifestyle Home Study Program has the answers. Check out SheDiet.com and satisfy your raw curiosity.
One of the best things terrorists could do is just build more fast food restaurants, maybe add another pharmaceutical company, have a couple more infomercials, and encourage people to eat the way they eat now. And everybody's going to be dead in 100 years. They can just walk right in, don't have to do a thing.
Superstars, large fry, Big Mac, Coca-Cola, go on, man. Pick your poison.
1/4 of what you eat keeps you alive, and 3/4 of what you eat keeps your doctor alive.
I used to get high for a living, eating all the bullshit food they sold me.
Cancer rates going up, heart disease going up, stroke going up.
We're poisoning ourselves with highly processed, nutrient-depleted foods.
One of the major problems is what we do to the soil and the air and the water and everything we take in our food.
We, for whatever reason, decided we're going to spray everything with every kind of pesticide, herbicide, larvicide, fungicide. We decided we're going to genetically modify things we don't know anything about. Can we actually improve what has already been created? And the answer is maybe, but not the way we've been doing it.
If you want to know what's wrong, look down at the table. It's staring back at you.
Think of it as chronic malnutrition, because that's what's going on.
But if we think we're going to go to the doctor and get a pill for everything, we've missed the whole point. We have been taught our whole lives to be consumers of modern medicine, which is pharmaceutical medicine. Good health makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't make a lot of dollars.
No, the drug industry has every right to make money, no question about that at all. The ethics, I think, need to be very closely watched.
What the pharmaceutical companies are doing may not necessarily be in the interest of our population.
You can be as sincere, and you can be sincerely wrong.
Approximately 106,000 Americans die from pharmaceutical drugs each year. And these are people who took the medication as directed.
There's a lot more turning to alternatives because what's being done beforehand doesn't work.
There is no magic bullet, but there is a lifestyle change that reverses serious chronic disease. It's cheap, it's simple, it's safe, it's effective.
The solutions are here. They've always been here. Every single person in the world, every culture, every language, every person in the world knows it. You are what you eat. Food does matter.
It's a choice. You don't have to be sick.
For a full-length DVD copy of Food Matters, go to GrassyRoots.com/food. And now, back to Grassy Roots on Channel 6 TV.
Hello, everybody. Gertie Gieger here, the girl with the green hair. I bet you thought you were going to see Miss Beth and Uncle Jim in the kitchen. Well, I told them to skedaddle, 'cause I have a recipe to share. Today, we're going to make almond butter cookies. It's a lot of fun, and you will really like this one. Be sure that your mom or your dad helps you with this, because we're going to use power tools. First, we start with almond butter. We made this last time. You need 2 cups of almond butter. You need about 1/4 a cup of ground up flaxseed. You can do that with a coffee grinder, or Mom can. And you need about a cup of water, maybe more, maybe less. It just depends on how it all blends together. Then you need this really cool power tool. It's called an immersion blender, or you can use a food processor too. Pour some of the water into your almond butter. Then about half the flaxseed and start to blend. All you have to do is push the button. Add some more of the water and the ground flaxseed. Then blend it up some more. A little more flaxseed. And then a little more water. And I think that about does it. Next, you get a pastry bag or a big bag that you put the pastry bag tip on. Put your batter down in the baggie. Uh-oh, I just knocked over my honey. It's alright, we're gonna use them with the cookies anyway. Zip it up. Get your plastic dehydrator sheet, 'cause that's where the cookies are gonna go. You don't cook raw food, you know. You just dehydrate them. Next, get your bag of dough and get ready to start squeezing out cookies. 1, 2, 3. You can make big cookies too, or cookie snakes, or cookie letters, whatever you can squeeze out. Mommy and Daddy will probably come up with some fun ideas, so let them play too. I'm just gonna make a few more now so that I can decorate them. I filled up my tray with cookies, and now I'm going to put decorations on them. I have all kinds of choices. I have raisins, almond slivers, blueberries. This is strawberries and pitted dates blended together to make a sauce. And these are carob chips. Now this was not in the Ann Wigmore program because it's cinnamon sugar. But that's okay for special occasions now and then. Or you can use the honey. And the last one is carob powder that you could sprinkle on it. I'm going to decorate with the honey first because I spilled it. I have a special honey tool that keeps you from getting too much honey on your cookie because we don't want to overdo it. And you just wibble it around on the cookie. I also have a special little spoon that helps you not get too much of the other stuff. I'm going to use it for the cinnamon sugar. Now, I'm going to decorate the rest of my cookies with the other things. Gertie Gieger, Gertie Gieger, Gertie Gieger is my name. I eat veggies, nuts, and fruit. I'm a living raw food dame. From the garden or a tree, I find all the food I need. Some I juice, some I blend, sometimes I sprout some seeds. If you want to grow up strong, extra healthy and very smart, be sure to put lots of fruits and veggies in your mommy's grocery cart. Did you like my song? I made lots more cookies while I was singing, and I made some more even after that. And here's my finished dehydrator tray. See how I decorated them with the raisins and the blueberries and the almonds and the cinnamon and the carrot powder? You can eat them now if you want to. They might be a little gooey. Or put them in a dehydrator for a couple of hours on a low heat, 115 Fahrenheit or less. Just check them every now and then until they get as crunchy as you want them to be. I hope you've had fun making cookies with me. See you again next time.
You're not going to cook anymore? How will I live?
I didn't say that I wasn't going to cook for you anymore. I said that I wasn't going to cook the vegetables anymore. And I said we're going to cut back on the red meat for a while.
Where in the world did you get this idea?
I've been reading some of the articles that are posted on rawdoctors.com, and they make a lot of sense. You've got aches and pains, I got high blood pressure, and it's time that we did something about our health. So this is what I'm going to do. Come on, do it just for a little while, sweetie.
To learn what Susan has learned and more, visit rawdoctors.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Carey, and sitting in front of me is Dr. Ann Wigmore's Raw Living Foods Lifestyle Home Study Program. Dr. Ann's program has been taught for over 50 years around the world at a half a dozen institutes. Normally you go, you spend 2 weeks, and you learn to do the program. However, when I was director of Creative Health Institute, I found that after you go home, you've been home for 6 months, a year, all that knowledge starts to fade. There's a need for being able to refresh your memory and a need for keeping inspired. So, over the course of the last 6 years, I put together a home study version of Dr. Ann's program, and this is it in front of you. I know, it's a lot. It's a 304-page handbook. It covers everything from the kind of water to drink, through energy soup, to how you combine your foods. There's a 180-page recipe book that covers everything from a raw breakfast through a raw dessert after supper and everything in the middle. Even has Thanksgiving dinner, an all-raw Thanksgiving dinner with mock turkey. Her basic program is in this 10 DVD set right here. But as you get into it, you get into questions, and you know, it's always like about having a second opinion, about having more details, and that's what the rest of this program is. Over here we have the advantages of eating raw, a video I did, one by Paul Nissan, a couple by Victoria Butenko, including her famous one, Greens Can Save Your Life. That's a 3-hour video. I know it's Victoria's #1 seller. This is all part of the home study program. A couple videos on wheatgrass, a couple videos on sprouting and gardening, a number of videos about Rejuvelac, lightly fermented foods, and energy soup. A couple more Dr. Ann videos, her TV interview. These 4 here are all about the benefits of the lifestyle. This one called Program Review, for example, is an overview of the program at Creative Health Institute. Enzymes in food, living foods. living foods preparation, I'm sorry, raw parenting, with, which is important to many people, student testimonials, colon health, transitioning to raw foods, food combining with Dr. Pfeiffer. It's as thorough as I've been able to make it in the last 6 years. Oh, and I almost forgot, 2 of Dr. Ann's books on tape, read by a professional radio announcer, Steve Monkevitz, a naturopathic doctor that happens to believe in Dr. Ann, so that shows in his voice. I mean, that's a 5 CD set, the other's a 3 CD set. This is the most thorough thing you will ever see to learn about Dr. Ann's raw living foods lifestyle. It's available at SheDiet.com. And actually, when you go to the website, you'll find there's even more bonuses over and above this. Thank you.